Let's talk about the legendary Nova. The Chevy Nova was a compact competitor in the legendary American Pony Wars. While the 1960s and 1970s witnessed a fight between American automotive manufacturers to produce the fastest and most powerful muscle cars, the Chevy Nova was just right when it came to size, speed, and affordability. But it didn't start out as the Chevy Nova. Eager to produce a budget-friendly, compact muscle car, Chevy introduced the Chevy 2. As a model name, Nova was chosen as the name for the higher-end, sportier trim option, and did eventually replace Chevy 2 as the car's official name. Produced between 1962 and 1988, though some people will tell you the Nova died in the 70s, you would be lucky to find a used Chevy Nova at your Chevy dealership.
The new Chevy 2. Fun to own? You bet. Corners easily, handles lightly, with a new kind of road-smoothing ride that keeps you relaxed.
After the Chevy 2's rapid-fire design and subsequent approval, which led to its manufacturer only 18 months later, this car was among the speediest new car development program released by GM. Designed in 1961 and released in 1962, the Chevy 2 was a back-to-basics compact car. Smaller than the full-size Chevy vehicles, but bigger than the compact Chevy Corvair. Available as a two-door coupe, four-door sedan, convertible, or station wagon, the simple design of the Chevy 2 represented what Chevy's general manager Ed Cole dubbed maximum functionalism with thrift. The first generation ran from 1962 through 1965, with a few notable highlights. Equipped with either a 153 cubic inch 4-cylinder or 194 cubic inch 6-cylinder engine, the Chevy 2 quickly evolved to include sportier options.
Now see all that's new for the USA.
Here's a Chevy 2 Nova Super Sport. Individually adjustable front bucket seats are included in its extra cost, extra fun equipment. Available on Nova convertibles and sport coupes. The Chevy 2 Super Sport option also features an electric clock and gauges and all vinyl leather grain upholstery.
The Super Sport, or RPOZ03, was released in 1963 on the Chevy 2 Nova 400, although it wasn't much of a performance booster. The trim, bucket seats, new instruments, and spiffier steering wheel gave the car a spicier appearance, making it seem more sportier than its performance actually was. This was the only year that the Chevy 2 Nova SS was available as a convertible.
For 1964, Chevrolet brings you 5 entirely different kinds of new cars. Like to see them? Come along. 5 driving favorites from Chevrolet, including Chevy 2. Chevy 2, available for the first time with a V8 engine at extra cost.
The following year brought about a larger 283 cubic inch engine, able to generate either 195 or 220 horsepower. Already lightweight, this engine upgrade edged the Chevy 2 into muscle car territory, with a 0 to 60 in 11.3 seconds and crushing the quarter mile in 18. The final year, 1965, of this first generation delivered additional muscle to the engine in the form of a 327 cubic inch V8 engine, generating 300 horsepower, available in a Power Glide transmission.
Exception, this one. Chevy 2 by Chevrolet. Simple, straightforward, and sure.
Although short, the second generation brought about a new and faster Chevy 2 model, equipped with a 327 V8. This model year boasted 350 horsepower and completed the quarter mile in 15.1 seconds, shaving nearly 3 seconds off its earlier record. Not much changed with the 1967 Chevy 2 models, other than some additional cosmetic enhancements. In 1968, the Chevy 2 name was dropped in favor of simply Chevy Nova.
The Chevy SS. Wider tread and special suspension give it sports car handling.
Add 4 on the floor.
The Nova was redesigned as the Nova SS, was mechanically and aesthetically based off the Chevy Camaro, outfitted with the standard 350 cubic inch V8, generating 295 horsepower. There was also the available 396 V8, which boosted horsepower between 350 to 375. The L34 option generated 350 horsepower, while the L78 generated 375 horsepower. Only 234 Novas were equipped with the L34 engine configuration, and 667 Novas featured the L78, making them both targets of car collectors. 1969 came and went without many significant changes to the Nova. An available Yanko Nova 427 cubic inch 8-cylinder engine generated a maximum 425 horsepower with 460 pound-foot of torque, but only 37 were created during that year, making them another classic car collectible. Those of us familiar with car history, or those of us who were alive during the 70s, can attest to the muscle car parade being rained on by emissions regulations, increased safety requirements, and the astronomical price of gas, when gas was actually available. The 1970 Nova featured a modified 396 cubic inch engine, which boosted its size to a 402, generating 375 horsepower. With performance no longer a priority, the 1971 Chevy Nova was given a 350 cubic inch engine, which got a maximum of only 270 horsepower. Not surprisingly, after the previous power and performance of earlier Novas, sales of the 1971 Nova started to slip. Chevy tried to bolster its sliding sales by releasing the Rally Nova, or RPO YF1, reminiscent of a race car, but without the actual performance of one, and only lasted until 1973.
Make this your year to really see the USA in Chevrolet Nova for 72.
The year 1972 introduced a Nova with a 350 V8 engine, able to get 200 horsepower, while 1973 just brought with it additional compliance with federal regulations and cosmetic enhancements, including bigger bumpers and rear side mirrors, as well as a hatchback option. More regulations influenced the 1974 Nova, but the biggest change was cosmetic and came as a Spirit of America one-year option which unveiled red, white, and blue accent trim levels. Due to additional regulations, the 1975 Nova now came standard with mechanical changes to the brakes, suspension, and tires. Because of emissions concerns, the 1975 Novas were equipped with catalytic converters to reduce emissions. Disc brakes were a required safety feature, as were steel-belted radial tires. In 1976, the Nova's 262 cubic inch engine was replaced by a new 305 engine as part of the gold medalist package, designed in honor of the 1976 Olympic Games.
1977 Chevy Nova. See what 15 years of refining can do for a compact car.
By 1977, production ended on the Nova SS, and sales plummeted, especially in the shadow of other new Chevy releases. The fourth generation lasted until 1979, but the Nova made an unexpected return in 1985. More than a few collectors gladly ignored models from the 1980s and insist the Nova met its demise in the 70s. Chevy resurrected the Nova badge in the spring of 1984 and released the fifth generation of Novas between 1985 and 1988. Built on the same platform as the Toyota Corolla, the Chevy Nova was a front-wheel drive subcompact car, equipped with a 1.6-liter, 98 cubic inch 4-cylinder engine, operated by either a 5-speed manual or a 3 or 4-speed automatic transmission. Well, there you have it, the history of the Chevy Nova. Did you own one? Let us know.